Brett at Finicity, Brett Moore. Let me give a quick introduction of Finicity, and then we're really excited to see your demo on becoming digital. So Finicity's digital verification solutions are helping lenders transform their manual processes of assessing borrower assets, income, and employment in order to meet or exceed the digital expectations of consumers and borrowers. It is all done through the use of a consumer permission data to enable faster loan closings and a reduced burden of traditional documentation in the loan origination process. It is all part of today's industry standard of becoming digital. All right, Brett, the floor is yours.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm going to just make sure that this is.
And I do like, and if anyone has been to a trade show floor in the mortgage industry recently, they've likely seen a yellow pair of Chucks in the back or walking around somewhere. I like that you're pulling in a little bit of that in-person experience here, Brett.
Hey, we're all trying to make it work here at home, aren't we? So, and, we're trying to make the most out of the experience. So, but I really appreciate the time. Appreciate the introduction. Again, Brett Moore from Finicity. I'm the director of product marketing here, and I'm really excited to talk to you about industry standards and where we're headed, and ultimately to help lenders to realize what's coming. If you haven't already experienced it, I think we're all seeing some of this, which is something I'm going to talk about. But we're seeing some of the digital expectations and the flexibility around that. We're seeing that sort of firsthand being here at home and working from various locations and trying to still make business work. My goal today really is to, number one, demonstrate how easy it is for lenders to start meeting or exceeding the expectations of digital borrowers. And the second thing I'd like to do today is to also explain the best practice process to not just doing digital, but becoming digital. This includes also understanding the value of being a true consumer-centric business and having a true consumer-centric approach. So with those two things, I'd like to jump right into it. First, I don't think this is going to be any surprise, but when we talk about consumers, we talk about borrowers, but really that's us. That's who we are. It really is us. So, and everybody knows by now that our lives, the interaction and the connection of digital into our lives is more ever present, or present than ever before. A really great example of that, as I mentioned, is we're here. We're doing business from remote locations. We're depending heavily on digital, and this experience all of a sudden became more real to everybody. And so it's the ability to be able to continue to service your customers in new ways and in new fashions, and still keep the experience very high with satisfaction and to meet and exceed the expectations of consumers. And so I'm constantly thinking about this. This is something I deal with every single day, but consumers are the driving force behind digitalization. They are demanding digital experiences. Nothing new, because that's us. It's what our expectations are. It's more important than ever, and we've seen that with the current market. And as you can see from this statistic, consumers believe that companies should understand their expectations and needs. But for lenders, it really is a digital or bust mentality. It's something we really need to be thinking about if you haven't already made this. But it's not just doing and implementing or testing a digital solution or going from to digital apps to something else. It's really a mentality that really needs to encompass and be absorbed into the entire organization. But the organizations, it's critical for them, lenders, to adopt these digital solutions to meet these expectations. And ultimately, the brands with a superior customer experience will not only meet or exceed these expectations, but they will even bring in more revenue. Their competitors that lag in the customer experience. So I want to introduce you to Finicity and help you understand that we are here in the mortgage lending space. We are a leader in this space, that we can help organizations, lenders, become an end-to-end digital solution provider in your credit decisioning. We have solutions across the entire spectrum, from pre-qualification into origination, into the secondary QC market, as well as into the long-term servicing space. We have digital solutions across the entire spectrum, and something to really help you think about, because this is what your goal ought to be. We're not just doing a few digital things, but becoming a digital organization across the spectrum. And how can you do that? The first, I want to talk about a couple of solutions specifically today that are in the mortgage lend origination space. These are some purpose-built solutions, one being verification of assets. This is bank validated insight into your borrower's current financial assets. And this all happens in a matter of minutes. It's delivered, this report is delivered through your LOS and POS partnerships that we have in the marketplace. And we have dozens of these, and all the major ones that you're looking for. Finicity is also an authorized report supplier for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and in their processes. So something that I wanted to point out here for verification of assets. And then the next one being verification of income. This is really important that you understand that this is a very high level accuracy. And this is becoming more and more important as we look around us and these economic challenges that are happening, whether it deals with employment. Now more than ever, we have lenders and we have GSEs on the back end who are working and operating under a higher level of scrutiny than ever before. So something to think about as we want to get to the point where we can eliminate the risk of fraud. This VOIE solution, verification of income and employment, is a multi-source cross-verification. So we're going to take pay stub data, and that's going to get OCR'd, and then we're going to be able to match key data points from the pay stub with real-time bank validated deposit data. And ultimately, you're going to get that high level of accuracy from this. You're going to accelerate your underwriting, customer satisfaction, and you're giving your digital consumers the experience that they would expect. So I wanted to explain how, I want to show you, I'm going to demonstrate to you how simple, easy, quick, and intuitive this process really is. So let's do, I want to show you that this, you can order this report through your LOS, okay? So you're in your LOS, you can go to the location where you are going to be doing, where you would normally order up these services. You're going to plug in some information about the borrower. They're going to then get an email or an experience within your POS that's going to help walk them through step by step their experience. So as a consumer in this case, as a borrower, I'm going to receive this email. I'm going to click on that link, and it's going to take me to this type of an experience. Now, as we go through this, notice how simple, quick, and fast and intuitive this really is. So I'm going to be in this case, I'm going to be doing an income and employment verification. I click on the button to get started. I have the opportunity to upload pay stubs, either by pulling it straight from my computer, my desktop, or I can take a snapshot on my mobile device. I do that. In this case, I'm going to pull it from my computer and then upload that, and it says, great, I now have your pay stub. And in the background, it's going to be doing some OCR processes. And then I'm going to click next, and it's going to say, hey, we got one more step here. We're going to now try and sync this up with some bank data. So I click there. I go to the point where I need to find my bank. I'm going to click on the bank that I have. I'm going to go through the same login processes that I would do offline. And there, I'm going to find the account that I normally deposit my paycheck into. So in this case, it's the bank says, hey, you've got two accounts, checking, saving. I select the checking, which is where my account, my pay stub is, or my direct deposit is deposited into. It says, I found that one. This is it. Yes, this is all I have. And there is a summary, and it's let me know that that we have everything we need from you. And this is the entire consumer borrowing experience. I just want to stop here before I go any further to the LO portion of this. But my point here is just to see how simple, fast, intuitive this really is. Your digital consumers are going to appreciate this experience. It's, again, meeting or exceeding their expectations. And this certainly does. In a world where we are looking for convenience and simplicity, I have just sent them, in addition, I can also do this with a verification of asset, but in a matter of a couple of minutes here, I can have all of my necessary verifications, digital verifications, verification of assets, income, and employment done. And now I'm speeding up the loan origination process and all sorts of benefits on the back end to this. So I want to now jump back to the LO, the loan officer experience. So the loan officer, the consumer has completed their report or completed their process. A report is now going to show up in the LOS. So they would go into, when they log into the LOS, they go to that customer's profile, an account. They then click on the report that's available, and then you will see the report there in the LOS. So a couple of things that I want to point out is that this is just an example of one of those reports. It's, again, you'll see some of the major features of this particular report right up front. It has identified, it has OCR'd the pay stub at the bottom here, and there's multiple pages to this, but on page 1 here, you'll see it has digitized the data elements from the pay stub, but it's cross-verified that with real-time bank transactions or credits, deposits into your bank. It has looked for some of those key data elements and has synced them up and has now told us that we have been verified for income and employment. It really is that simple, and it's a very straightforward, simple process, not just for the consumer, but also for the loan officer. And it's this particular report that now is included in the loan file. And the GSE on the back end of this, they have access to this very same report by using the report ID that's in here, because we have built those relationships with the GSEs and their systems as well. So they have the ability to come grab the same data points and to verify that. And so very simple, and that's all because of our relationships in this ecosystem. So I've just demonstrated to you the simplicity of this experience, but I want to now help you understand a few things about best practices. Now, I realize that everybody on this call is not in the exact same place, nor should you be. Everybody is operating in their own element, in their own competitive space as a lender. Some have started this digital process. Some are investigating this digital process. Some want to get more mature. Some have already adopted some of these digital verifications, but now they're looking to do things like improving their adoption rates. So there is an entire spectrum of individuals who I realize who are going to be watching this and certainly may have questions about this. But I want to point out some things that really are important to leading in this space. If you're going to become digital, you need to align yourself with some of these important characteristics of data providers like Finicity. Number one, you really need to understand that Finicity is a direct data integrator. Finicity connects directly with these financial institutions and is considered a core data aggregator. Our direct integrations remove any dependencies on any brokers or third parties to ensure the highest quality data and service. Finicity has always understood that working directly with the FIs would lead to the best outcomes for consumers. And that's exactly why all of our connections, we are 100% direct with the financial institutions, your FIs. And so this is really important because we don't have to have any of these dependencies on third parties. We're not renting, or we're not renting the data from somebody else. We own this entire process of connecting to the financial institutions. Another really important point here about being a direct data integrator is that is the actual connections themselves. There is a lot of detail into this, but it's really important for you to understand that Finicity, we have been leading with as a data agent. We've been leading with we've been actually seeking out and signing bilateral data agreements with these financial institutions for for better data connections. And we now have more direct data connections than any other data agent. And we have many, many more working in the process. And all these bank integrations are focused on connecting to the right data from the right sources for the highest quality data. And when you become this type of direct data integrator, as Finicity is, you have to start thinking about all of the internal operations to be able to make sure that happens. But we have proprietary FI connections and certification processes to ensure that you get the required data for your use case. It's all focused on accuracy, reliability, consistency, and comprehensiveness. And those are all things that we believe should be important to your business, and making sure you're using the highest quality data. The other point that I want to make on this is we believe that we are the most consumer-friendly data provider. We are in an era, this is a very unique time, but we are in an era of consumer empowerment and consumer legal rights. Consumers have more legal rights than ever to their own data. And Finicity is unique that we are a registered CRA. And we are the only CRA in the mortgage lending. And this enables you to become, we are legally compliant. We are able to meet your consumer borrower needs where others are not able to do. And so in essence, this really truly is an issue of anything less than a CRA is practically a non-starter. When you're doing credit decisioning of these volumes, these high dollar balances, it absolutely is critical that you are legally compliant and working with someone who is a CRA that can help you in this space. So I now want to point you to the picture going forward, because this is really about leveraging these verification of income, employment, and assets as a launch pad into becoming digital. And I want to point you to some very critical things in here. And this is a space where Finicity can really help you identify how can you maximize your experience. And the first thing here is around digital readiness. So these are 5 critical success factors that can help you maximize your success in this mortgage lending space. Digital readiness tells you how you can both meet or exceed the borrower demand, and do you have the technical resources to be able to pull this off. The first one really is key to adoption in general, but it is around executive sponsorship. How much of digital really is incorporated into your experience? And do you have executives who are bought in, that they're pushing loan officers, they're pushing within the organization to adopt more and more digital and to create some, to optimize processes, become more productive, and focus on some key metrics within the organization. It absolutely is important that, that you have executive buy-in there. A few other things to think about in this digital readiness space. Again, do you have direct data access? Are you working with a direct data integrator, as Finicity is, and not renting that data? Do you have the ability to meet consumer expectations around CRA? Can you provide all the digital verifications that are necessary to help move move borrowers and lenders or loan officers through the process? In other words, can you be a one-stop verification? Also around flexibility, do you have the ability to tailor the experience? And we saw earlier in this experience the Consumer Connect experience, where they would go in and find their bank account. You can have your own tailored brand on that experience. You can make it look, give it a look and feel that is comfortable and that aligns best with your brand experience too as well. So those are things to consider. How scalable? Are you talking about doing dozens of these loans, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? That's the type of scalability that Finicity can provide for you. And then of course you always have to have table stakes security in this place. Another key important point, critical success factor, is your adoption rates. Need to be focused on not just taking digital solutions, but what am I going to be doing with these going forward? How am I going to be helping LOs increase their adoption? How can LOs help borrowers increase their adoption, overcome any potential challenges? Talk through some very key points there. So, and then success rate, how often, what's the percentage that I can get my borrowers into a digital experience and streamline that? And that of course is going to lead to optimization rate, key metrics, and are you working with the highest level accuracy through your digital verifications in digital solutions? The quality of data is absolutely important for you to be thinking about. You can't, especially when you're talking about doing things like getting GSE approvals and looking for rep and warranty relief. And so these are all things that Finicity can help you think about and map out as a part of your process of not just leveraging these great verification of income and employment and asset solutions, but also using that as a launch pad into the to becoming digital and becoming an organization that can be very consumer centric.
Brett, thank you so much for that demo.